Hello everyone, my name is Don, the movie reviewer, and today we're going to be talking about Albert Hughes' film Alpha. It is the story of man's best friend and how they came to be. Let's get into it. Albert Hughes, one of the Hughes brothers, is the guy who directed this movie. His brother's name is Alan Hughes, and I like some of the Hughes brothers movies. I enjoyed Dead Presidents and Menace to Society. I didn't like because of all of the narration. From Hell, I was bored with that movie. The Book of Eli I thought was fun. Denzel Washington doing blind kung fu was great. So I don't really know the Hughes brothers' track record within the film industry all that well. But I was surprised that Albert Hughes was directing this movie because I haven't seen him in a long time. The last film I saw him direct was The Book of Eli with his brother Alan. So this was a pleasant surprise to me. Alpha is a movie about a boy who is learning how to be a man. Along this boy's journey, he befriends a alpha wolf and they become the best of friends. Kodi Smit-McPhee plays the boy in this movie who is learning how to become a man through the guide and leadership of his father, who is played by Johannes Håkan Johannesson. And these two actors in this movie gave a fantastic performance. I believed them as father and son. To me, the movie rings true as to how fathers or parents in general treat their kids. You know, you guide your children, you want them to learn things, and in order for them to do that, you have to teach them. You know, being a parent is all about being a mentor, a teacher, a person that your kid can look up to. But more often than not, you do find that parents usually push their children too far, and their children start to rebel because the kid doesn't necessarily want to become what their parents are in most cases. And in this movie, the son wants to impress the father, but then the father wants the son to push harder, but then he's not being too mean about it. You may think, oh, the father's pushing too hard. But he's not being, let's say, quote-unquote dick about it. He's like not, oh, you fucked up son, you're worthless to me. It's like if his son says he doesn't want to do something, the father may get a little bit upset with him, but he still says, you never give up, you try again. He's frustrated with his son, but he still believes in him. So I thought the relationship between these two actors in this movie as father and son were great. The story in this movie is a fairy tale. I will say you will like this movie if you like fairy tales. The beginning of this movie is very intense, but it reminded me of a little movie called Apocalypto by Mel Gibson. And if I had to choose between the two, I would choose Apocalypto because it feels really gritty, realistic, and it's rated R. With this movie, it's like some kid-friendly After Earth movie, but sprinkled with a little bit of intense moments in there. Like there's a scene that reminded me of the Revenant in here with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I will say that if I had to choose between two, The Revenant did it better than this movie Alpha. But The Revenant was quite boring to me. The bear scene in The Revenant was fantastic, and everything after that I was kind of bored, but it was intense and it was gritty, and it was hardcore. But in this, it's a little lighthearted, so it feels like a fairy tale because there are some far-fetched things that happen in this movie, things that are over the top to where you want to roll your eyes and say, oh, gosh. But I mean, it's a movie, it's a fairy tale, it's a coming-of-age story, and so the way the scenes are executed in here are executed perfectly. They strap you in, you're engaged, and you know, the scenes can be intense when they want to be. There's a scene where a heartbeat is going and I feel it. There's a scene, you know, especially between the wolf and the main actor in here, Jordan Smit-McPhee. The wolf in here, the dog, the wolf, or whoever they trained was fantastic in this movie. The way they shot it. I was afraid of the main actor touching this wolf or this dog because I was like, oh yeah, this animal is really a wolf and it's gonna bite him, and then it was intense. So there were intense moments in this movie that were executed, they handled perfectly. I felt them emotionally. There were scenes that got me teary-eyed, but it still just had some really over-the-top moments that took me out of the experience of the movie. But then once I started to accept it, especially from the beginning moving on, it's like, okay, we have some really cool, intense moments that are emotional. They may make you tear-eye. You like the wolf in here, it's fantastic. The boy, the father in here are all great. But there are some silly moments in here, like especially at the beginning of the movie. I don't think this is a spoiler. They're doing something to some buffalo, which I don't know what the point of them hunting is. It's like, are they hunting so they can kill these buffalo and bring it back home? But they don't show that in the movie. They do this opening action scene that at first felt intense, but then it felt ridiculous, because I'm like, how are all of these men going to take on these buffalo? But it's a fairy tale, so just go with it. And then the buffalo start running over the cliff, and I'm like, okay. And then the boy gets caught and something happens, and how it's resolved is a bit ridiculous and over the top. But it's a fairy tale movie, so if you like fairy tale movies, I think that you might enjoy this. And if you don't really like fairy tale movies, then I don't think this is for you. I give Alpha by Albert Hughes a solid B. This movie's not for me. I didn't enjoy it all that. You know what? I'm gonna give it a B plus. Fuck it.
Watch your language.
I give Alpha by Albert Hughes a B plus. There were a lot of intense moments in here, like I said, that got my heart pounding, that made me feel emotional, hit me in the feels, and my eyes watered in a couple scenes. I love the relationship between the father and the son in here. The two actors did fantastic. The wolf in here, I think during the credits it said Alpha played by Chuck. I think the dog or the wolf or whatever that animal is in this movie is named Chuck. Awesome for that animal, did fantastic in here. I'm stupid, duh. That's why I don't know if it was a real wolf or a dog, but whatever it was fantastic. And I enjoyed the boys, the coming of age story in here, but like I said, there were a few moments that felt like familiar movies that did it better. And in this, you know, if you want to take your kid to watch something that feels like After Earth, that has a sprinkle of The Revenant in there, but it's more catered towards children. It's PG-13, it's not rated R, so it's a bit, you know, it's not as grotesque as what happened to Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. And if you like something that's, you know, kind of like, you know, Apocalypto, then this is the lighthearted version of that. Anyways, that's all I have to say. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.